Help us make right decisions for the people of Plymouth County. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and roll call.
Small.
Here.
Yax.
Here.
Brumman. Here. Brady.
Here.
Johnston.
I'm gonna add to the agenda. A presentation is going third after Dave Hanson, Black Rock Beach talk for alert support. I think that's it. Liz McNichols, I knew that, but. That being said, I'll make a motion to approve minutes from the May 1st, 2024. Well, we gotta move, got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Open a public comment, 3 minutes, state your name and your township. Anybody here? I don't think online unless you request ahead, so moving on. Mr. Patrick Smiley, Veterans Update.
That'd be me. I got, the builder gave me this the other day. It's, it's a waiver from all the workers, the electricians, the drywall guys, everybody, that they've been paying in full. So, you don't have to worry about a lien to put on the building. This is from, the drywall, the electrical, masonry, insulation, mechanical, plumbing. So it's all here. Materials, everything. It's all signed by them. They've been paid in full. Estimating. You are liaison, I do it to the correct.
So I remember we brought this up, I think, I know Cheryl and I talked a little bit about it, and that was one of our big things that we did at this beginning. Tom was more than willing to do it.
Yeah,
Getting it, so lean wages and. Dave probably, so that's good, I appreciate
well,
it.
I'm sorry, I could have gave it to you beforehand, but I had so much fun last 2 days with meetings with the GDA and, other things going on, but to give you an update, we get a vehicle. In the grant. The MBA gave us $40,000 towards a new vehicle. We're gonna get, Equinox. It has to be a new vehicle, it has to be something with warranty. That was their stipulations. So we went to Alcona Motors, and as usual, Dennis Goodman worked with us well, gave us a heck of a deal. It's gonna do something to do with the county on a fleet. Deal with
Fleet
cars,
purchase.
yeah, save us more money. So we got enough money left over. So I talked to the MVAA. They had the fair in Tawas last Thursday, so I got to rub elbows with them and kind of told them, look, we got approximately 10 grand left over. Can we use it for something else? Well, we gotta put the request in. They seem to think it's, looks. So I looked into, backup generator system. And got a nice price from Tom Morgan. And that's gonna work, and we might even have some left over for our flagpoles. So we put the request in last Friday, the MVA on that. I mean, everything's coming along so good right now. And then from the grant, besides the vehicle, looks like we got enough money to pay the parking lot, blacktop our parking lot. The residents, I get calls in my house, but wherever I go, thank us. They want someone to volunteer, someone to donate. We mentioned we want to put up a memorial wall for our veterans. For the county. And people, word of mouth, whatever. calling your office, flooding us with, we wanna donate, we wanna help. So that's gonna be a project we're gonna do. How we're gonna do it, what we're gonna do, yet. We don't, we like it by the plan. We gotta talk, but everything's coming together good.
You touch on, so I've been updating along, but since we got all these lean waivers, where we are in the budget in the building, come in.
Right on the money, right good.
Everything hit.
Every one of them signatures, them guys, and they're gonna hear about it when the time is right. Deducted money. Gave us back. And I think the total's a few $1,000. Every one of them said, hey, I wanna donate something to veterans, I'm gonna knock. This thing. We always knew. That we needed this for our veterans. We knew it was gonna be good. I had no idea it was gonna be this. Good for the county. For the village of Lincoln, and for the residents, they're coming from all over the county, calling us and helping. And wanting, like I said, wanting to volunteer. We got a little bit of a problem. Got a lot of guys, people, maybe because the weather's breaking. They're talking about. Why didn't you work with the commissioners better? Why didn't you communicate better? You know what I mean? So. I gotta defend myself. So this folder I got right here. I'm not trying to be. Mean about it. I want this. Situation to be over. I felt all along we were misled on a lot of. Things that went on. And I want it to be over, but some residents just won't let it be. And they would say, why don't you guys work together with the commissioners better? Why didn't you communicate that? Well, that wasn't our fault. So I went back. And all my documentation here. And this isn't the worst, by no means, but it's something that hits. What I'm talking about and what I'm showing these residents. I'm not gonna sit there and say you're lying, who's lying, and who's doing this and that. But I am gonna show them that we're not to blame. So, but here's one thing that that really hits home. That explains what I'm talking about and what has happened and what the residents. Brought up. In fact, this is one of the incidents. And this was back in June. I came here in May and I asked you, because you'd asked us to do something, and we did it. Next meeting, you wanted something else done, and we did it. We kept going around. So finally, I asked you guys, the board, hey, give us a list. Let us get this done. It's been too long. We started back in 19. Trying to get things better for our veterans. I said this before, they've never got a fair shake here. Nobody's fault. It was all because of finance. We know that. But with grants, our first grant, we got $55,000. We sat down our committee and we said, what can we do with this money to make it better for our veterans? That's what we did with it. We made Tony full-time. Veterans, we didn't know, I had no idea we had that many veterans. At one time, I think we had 1,500 registered veterans come. At one time. From when I started this, going on my 13th year, I think we had not even 300 registered veterans in the county. So. That's what the veterans needed, was good representation and help. A veteran could go and get help through the VA, it could take them 2 years. Tony can do it for him in 2 weeks. So that's what we did, and it turned out to be the best thing we could have did. But here's a letter that the commissioners gave me on June 19th of 22. As your board of commissioners, we totally understand your need for additional office space and agree that the search for a suitable location is desirable. Now, I'm gonna skip here and just get to the specific, and not do a lot of detail. You wanted us to present the elevation and floor plan drawing of the proposed building. Can be a rough drawing. And you highlighted it. Okay, and then there's other stuff to you, that's going on. All right, then, once the low. And purchase. By the county, the following information and materials will be needed to proceed. A complete set of blueprints designed to the specifications required by the state of Michigan for commercial building. Now, that was your request. And this is what a guy brought me up the other day, that really hit home and I remembered it. So I went back to the paper 2 months later. One of the commissioners put in the paper. He's not a commissioner here no more. So this was September 22. Thompson said the veteran. Architectural engineer, I don't know if I said that right. Certified sealed design that meets all federal and state requirements for the new building. To get a contractor bid quote. He said, so far, all the commissioners have received from the veterans is a sketch. That they would like us to have. Now, this was after you sent us this letter, 2 months later. He knew we couldn't give him this until you purchased the property. But yet, misled our residents that we were the ones not giving you the proper material. And this is the kind of misleading we had through this thing. But like I said, it's over with. I want it to be over with. But I want you to know, when a resident brings this up to me again, I'm not going around just showing people this. I'm not gonna. I want it to end. But this is, I'm gonna show them things like this. I'm gonna defend our veterans, especially on my committee and Tony. We've worked hard on this. We deserve better. We earned it. And we're getting it. I don't wanna be mad at anybody anymore, like I said, I want it over, but I wanna let you know I'm not going back down no more with the resident. They come to me and mention this is what they're gonna get. So, with that. I'm all done.
Well, so what is the date that you're moving in?
We're waiting on the well. The well gets in, we're moving in.
That's the only thing you have.
They hooked up the power, the heat was supposed to be hooked up today. Since we've got, I don't know if you know this, Cole's Appliance donated the floor. Things like that, things we didn't expect, to save us some money, so we can do other things. This is gonna be nice, there's something I think our county's gonna be proud of. Our veterans are loving it. So, and that was our main goal, be centrally located. But this isn't just a good thing for our veterans, I think this is gonna be a good thing for our county.
Matt, are we thinking before the end of the year, we're gonna be able to run the vehicle?
Oh, yeah, we can get the vehicle right away, they got it. We already picked it up and it's in the lot. So that's pretty cool. Big enough for 5 people, I got in it, I was comfortable, I'm a big guy. Got enough room.
Yeah, I know there's a need since when ACCOA got rid of theirs, you know, there's a lot of guys that
Yeah,
are getting that ride, so this will fill that gap.
yeah, well, Tony wanted a Traverse. That was like 12 grand more. And that's why they gave us the 40,000. But we don't need that. This Equinox is a nice vehicle, all-wheel drive. 32 miles a gallon, something like that. And the service, got Elcona Motors right there. And I mean, it'll be more than sufficient, and they have the extra money to do more. Blacktop in the parking lot would be a big thing for the handicap. We do have a problem, we just found out yesterday that the state guidelines on a wheelchair ramp to the street cannot be done. Has to be done at the corner. But if we do the parking lot, that'll take us right to the building and we got our ramp right there. So it's not gonna hurt us. So that's it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mhm. Any other questions? Oh, yeah. Okay,
Right, thank you, Wendell, next up, Dave Hanson.
Good afternoon, just kind of bringing a little update on, we had a big project go on last week, right in the middle of nowhere. Fortunately, I was here when it happened. Right in the middle of the day, the sewer line leading out of the building backed up into the building and we had to close immediately just because everything was backing up. It took quite a while, some exploratory surgery out there digging around and stuff like that. Kona Septic Service made an emergency run down here. We thought it was a simple plugged line going out of the building or something like that. We worked until 6 o'clock Tuesday night, still couldn't get it unplugged. The main issue here is that the line leaves the building underneath the prosecutor's office and it exits all the way out at 23 over there, which is over 300 feet. So most augers and things that they have normally available only go 100 feet, which was leaving us quite a gap in the middle. And so we thought we were missing something as far as we couldn't get to it. We opted to open up maybe the next day in the morning. I contacted them. They were supposed to bring some porta johns the next day in the morning. And then we were gonna start seeing if we could auger and jet it out first thing in the morning. The decision was made to stay closed to the public the next day. And unfortunately, they got sidetracked on another job and didn't come the next morning. Same thing, they had another emergency call, didn't come, which made it very awkward for all the employees in the building because the outhouses the porta johns didn't even get here till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We were anticipating them being here at 9 o'clock in the morning, but they didn't come till late afternoon. So back to digging, I dug it up first thing in the morning at 7 o'clock in the morning, I was out there digging. By 8:15, I realized it was actually tile out there, it wasn't PVC pipe, and I found tile that actually had tree roots growing into it. At that point, I just made the decision that we were gonna have to dig it up. I called the local company, Lincoln Sand and Gravel. They dropped what they were doing and came over here and looked at it. Agreed with me on that. They went and got their equipment. By 9 o'clock in the morning, we were digging on it. By noon, we found the section that was blocked here. It was right by that tree that's outside the window here. Apparently, when they put the 10-inch water main into the property where you see the blue flags out there, they ran into the tile and they replaced the PVC from where the city brought it in all the way up to a certain point. My understanding is at that point, the county decided because of financial reasons not to tear up the sidewalk and dig the rest of it out, and they left the tile from there to the building. And that's exactly where it got blocked. So only option was to cut the sidewalk out, start at the building and work our way out. And at that point, I didn't know if it was going 25 feet or all the way up to 23. And we were just gonna dig it up to within the blockage. Fortunately, it was only 30 feet out from the building, right where the tree was at. They had added a small piece of PVC pipe into it for, I guess there used to be a drain outside the building there, drinking fountain or something like that back at some point in time. And where that was at, the strapping had broke where they had patched it on top of the pipe with a sleeve on it. And that's where all the tree roots grew in. Once we ripped that section of pipe out, it was clear. So we ran to Lincoln, fortunately Lincoln Harbor, 6-inch pipe. And we were able to put it back together and had it operational by 2 o'clock Wednesday afternoon. So things were operational. Thursday morning, they came back and we had Alpina Supply drop off some fittings so we can install clean out. So we shut things down just for half hour, 20 minutes while they installed all that. And really it was backfilled and leveled by 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I was able to seed it Friday morning, so we should be good for the long haul on that project. So we got very lucky. It didn't happen when the ground was frozen. It didn't happen when we had 300 people in here for a jury trial. And I was literally standing there when it happened. So it was.
Well, we're also lucky that you were here to handle it in
Well,
Yes.
quick manner, so that's
yeah,
awesome.
and having some contractors who were willing to drop everything to help, I helped out quite a bit too, so, thank you. Along with that, I was gonna use some of the ARPA funding to cover the cost of this project, about $4,265 for it all for the project. The only thing left to do, it's like $1,500 for the excavating, $200 to $300 for the pipe, couple $100 in fittings. We had $550 for the emergency service call for the guys that came down for the porta johns and the rentals. I did include on there, we got an estimate for one concrete guy to repair a sidewalk of about $1,200. I'm using that as a base number. The issue we're gonna have with the sidewalk is it's all have to drive a cement truck all the way onto there, because we'll crush everything that we just did. So it's gonna be having to wheelbarrow it all the way to that point to fix the sidewalk. We may get, let's send out some bids on that, but that's just a baseline number that I got from the guy that they don't own this. So that's the two pieces of sidewalk. So that takes us back to the ARPA funding. I've had some questions of where I'm at on that. You guys have been very generous in helping me get things fixed around with that. So roughly at the beginning of the year, we started out with $32,995 in that account, is what my baseline was on that. We've had some unexpected repairs, and this has saved us from going into the general fund for projects like this. To give you an idea, in March, the sheriff's boiler went out on it with 2 service calls and $1,000 pump. That final bill came in at $3,051 to get the heat operational in that building. In March, they were complaining it was cold in the courtroom. The main zone valve in the ceiling, there were those big valves are at. By the time we got parts, service, and 2 calls on that, that was $2,391. In May, the main circulating pump that pumps all the heat through this building failed with the main bearing on the pump assembly, and the seals were bad on it. It was pouring water out in the basement downstairs. That was $2,362 for those repairs. And then, so if you had the $4,200 for this repair, we've had just this year alone, $12,610 in emergency repairs between here and the sheriff's department. Which without that funding, we would be dipping very deep into the general fund. With the service window project almost complete on register of deeds, and I had to do some work on the back of the courtroom. That leaves me a balance of $16,328.29. Now, that money we were trying to set aside for doing the work over at the sheriff's, the building department bathroom once they move out. So every time we take a project on, that project kind of gets closer and closer, we're gonna get it in on the budget and stuff, so that's where we're at on that.
Just so you know, the reporting was done on the 31st of March
Yes,
or April.
okay,
And there is an excess, and I can give you those numbers,
okay,
because all the excess ARPA funding that was not accounted for
Yeah.
was to go to building maintenance, and I'll give you that report,
okay, good, because
and
I know we still want to do the bathroom project over there.
you won't have a problem.
Okay, so that's where I'm at on that.
Okay.
The final thing while I'm standing up and talking about this, as you may have heard, Mike, my assistant, is gonna be taking another position at the county building. So we will probably have to be posting for a job for that. So ideally, I think the girl, Rand's last day is like the 24th. Ideally, Mike, I think after the holiday weekend is supposed to possibly start the 28th. The last I heard on that. So we would like to sit down with the personnel committee, and then we'll have to come up with putting something in the papers and put some ads out in the paper.
For that, yeah,
For the
today or
position.
tomorrow.
Okay, perfect. Any other questions?
No, but thanks again for. I'm just gonna put it over. Thanks
Yeah.
again for all your help.
I was able to find the last time that we advertised for Mike's,
Yes.
so I'm just changing it. It's gonna be the same, correct? Full-time Teamsters union position,
Yes.
so I just have to modify it and then I
Yeah.
can show it to you.
Sure.
And you guys can see if
Finalize
that's what
it,
you
so.
want me to,
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so
because
much.
back when it was just still part-time.
It's still
so
part-time.
I just gotta modify it a little bit.
All right,
Found yours too.
I saw that. I remember that. Appreciate it. All right, thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks,
See you, Dave. Okay, next up, Elizabeth Nichols, sorry.
Hey, so I'm coming as a private citizen. I have no interest, like financial interest in this at all, but just as the county. So how I came to know about Black Rock Beach, about a year ago, there was an article about it in the Alcona Review, and I hadn't even heard of it, but I've seen it. I've walked to it now. I know where it is and what it is. And most of you don't know, it's a large black rock on Lake Huron. It was used for navigational purposes, ceremonial services by the native peoples at the time, because it sticks up so far out of the beach. So right next to the high banks. And then 2 months later, there's an article in the Alcona Review again about the Michigan Natural Resources Trust Fund, in which I didn't know existed. So that money comes from oil and gas money in Michigan, and it's used to acquire land for public use. So I kind of put 2 and 2 together, and I thought, and then I saw the for sale sign on the property. There's 1,200 feet of, I think it's more than that. 20, 1,200 feet of shoreline of Lake Huron that's undeveloped. So it's partially in Harrisville Township, part in Greenbush Township. The owner put actually a road in recently and then a parking area and a deck down. It was for sale. They were splitting it up in lots. That has changed. I have the old, I've just got this from the real estate agent. I have the old listing, which they were trying to break it up into lots. Now they want to sell the whole thing for $8 million. It's 22 acres, and 1,700 feet of shoreline, but it has the railroad tracks. It has core access because you got the railroad tracks, you got this very narrow road, and then it drops off very steeply. It is in the marine sanctuary also. So, I talked to, Eric at the state park and they said I guess he was approached at one time to go look at it. And then, nothing came of it. So then I called the trust fund folks. There's a representative for Northeast Michigan and I said, how has this happened with the oil and gas money? And they said, well, we have to have a 50-50 match. And I said, well, our counties on the Northeast Michigan don't have that kind of money to buy land, to do land acquisitions. So then I went to the website and I started, so they've been awarding money since 1978. And I started adding up all the money for land acquisition in the Northeast Michigan counties. And it added up to only 4% of $1.3 billion awarded since 1976. And then I thought, well, a lot of oil and gas money comes out of Northeast Michigan. You look at Atlanta, the Gaylord area, all that. Why isn't Northeast Michigan getting funds, you know, where the rest of the state is? And probably a lot of it is because of matching funds, and the poorer counties don't have that kind of money to acquire land. So after all that research, I thought, well, I'm gonna write the governor and find out why there's this discrepancy going on and tell them about this beautiful piece of property that the state could acquire to be part of the Parks Division, or actually Michigan MDOT as far as like a scenic overlook or a parking area. So I got a letter back, an email actually back from the head of the grants management in the Michigan DNR. And they said, here's an application. Any citizen, any individual group or organization may nominate parcels for land acquisition. So I filled out the application and sent the signed copy. I sent the pictures of it. I sent the real estate, all that information. So that's all in already. But what I'd like to see ask if the commissioners would be willing to send a letter of support to the grants management. I have all the information that was sent in, including a letter to the governor. I created a draft letter that you could look over or amend as possible. So right now they've addressed it as 1369 Black Rock, Harrisville, Michigan, Alcona County. It's actually 2,700 feet. Sorry, I misspoke. 2,700 feet, 22-acre parcel on US Highway 23. The Black Rock enclosed in this parcel holds deep significance and played a vital role in the spiritual and cultural practices of indigenous tribes who use it as a ceremonial site. Preserving historically significant sites like Black Rock Beach is vital to understanding our past and heritage. And then I talked about in the letter about, you know, the Michigan Natural Resource Trust Fund's primary function is to submit to the legislature a priority list of lands recommended for acquisition and or development through the Natural Resources Trust Fund grant program. It supports development and improvement of public outdoor recreation opportunities across the state. But unfortunately, the majority of this money is going to communities with very large budgets, not less affluent counties. So that's just a little piece of a letter. But I asked the commissioners if they would send a letter to the grants management of the Michigan Department of Natural Resources in support of this acquisition by the state.
Is this the same rock that used to be called Turtle? I always knew it as Turtle Rock.
It may be, I know it by Black Rock because of the article in the paper. I found it in the historical archives at the library, and there's old pictures of it, and they called it Black Rock in there, but it could have been called Turtle Rock by maybe the indigenous people too, but I know they said it was a ceremonial site.
My awareness of it, which is very limited, but nonetheless, is that there's only that one rock I
Just
don't think
one.
there's two rocks. I don't
No.
think there's.
It's a very large black rock. It probably, right now, it's probably this high out of the sand. You know, when the water was up, you know, it was covered more with water, and now the water's down, and but like I said, there's historical pictures in the, at the library of it, you know, hundreds of years ago, or 100, probably 120, 130 years ago. So,
So what you're asking for is a letter
of support
of support.
sent to the Michigan Department of Natural Resources Grants Management in support of Black
I
Rock
would
Beach.
move that we authorize the chair to sign the letter in support of Black Rock Beach.
Fine review,
Pardon?
fine review letter. She has a letter.
Yeah, I have a draft,
Well,
but
yeah,
you can
it's
take,
a letter.
you can piece it apart, you know, I just wanted to get, I included, a lot of it's like the letter I sent to the governor,
Yeah.
You bring us a letter, we don't tear it apart. Trust me.
I'll support it. We'll support it. I just asked that you give us a chance to read it before I sign it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Should I give the clerk all the information?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions for Liz? Oh, wait, we got a motion on the table.
Yeah.
Any more discussion? All right, then, let's do a roll call.
Yax,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Brady,
Yeah,
Brumman.
Yes.
okay. Any more
Well, thank
questions
you.
for Liz?
I think
Okay.
this would be a great addition to Alcona County. It would be a great place for people up and down 23. So yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Bless you for your efforts.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it, presentations. We're gonna go to unfinished business, prosecuting attorney's request.
All right, so, we'll get on table, right? Did we table it officially? What did we do? I don't know.
We tabled
it. Did we table it? I make a motion, we untable the, prosecuting attorney's request. Who supported? All those in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Roll. If you're good, we can continue the
Yeah,
conversation.
please.
All right, so I was left with asking personnel to look at this and then perhaps in the finance. So we did that. Terry and I both talked. I contacted, two other counties in our district or our circuit. The 4 counties are circuit or district, circuit. So Oscoda County and Aranet County, just inquiring where they were at on their prosecuting attorney's office. As far as staffing, Oscoda is staffed heavier than ours. They have 4 full-time people. And Aranet is staffed a little less than ours. Talking with Tom, it seemed probably Oscoda was pretty similar to us as far as caseload and amount of people. So we had a conversation that you got with Terry and I talked to Tom, and I guess our bottom line was that it is probably certainly a reasonable request with what's going on and the amount of things that are happening. It is legal. We don't want to see people not getting prosecuted to the fullest extent simply because we don't have personnel to do it. There was one extra part, and this is probably just a narrative from my point. So Tom's been with us for 20 years. 32 years. So certainly he's, you know, he has worked at the top of the pay scale, which has a cost for the office. That's the reality. However, Tom is also the chairman of the hunt team. He's a chairman of several other boards, and there are things that we get for that office for his positions on these that we probably won't get for a new prosecutor. So there was some talk that maybe, you know, we didn't need extra people because maybe he needed to not do them other things, but I think it's imperative that he stays with them and is able to have an office that runs appropriately. So that was my own narrative, not necessarily Terry's, but it's not so, and all that to say, personnel is in agreement that that position could go to full time. So I know there was some money attached to it. That was you guys. I think he provided that last time, what the extra costs, and you just, what that what you provided, Steph?
Trina just brought down, that was if the position were to go from now to full-time, what the cost would be for the rest of the year. But she also just brought down, costs for full-time, say, what next year's budget would
One
look
full
like.
year. So what's the addition? So what it is now, or this is what the full?
That would be like for a full year.
So this is finance, but I'll read it. So full year cost of this employee would be 34,147. Which I don't know what was budgeted.
Is, what's the MERS on there?
MERS is 7237. It's kind of high.
Well, because it's a defined benefit, because that's a Teamsters position. So that would have to be a union position.
I don't remember what was budgeted for the part-time. Do you remember, Tom, what it was budgeted at? It was 20, so it'd be about a $14,000 increase.
Yes, Cal.
I would move to approve the motion on the table.
There isn't a motion.
Pardon? Yes, there is.
Maybe we gotta table it. Motion for the approval.
Oh.
She's calling for a vote.
Okay.
She's calling for a vote.
I'll support.
Oh. You know, we need the motion, right? We're already in a motion, are we?
The motion is to approve the changes requested by the prosecuting attorney.
I think it was properly seconded at the last meeting already. We had a discussion, then we tabled. So now we've untabled. Now we have a properly seconded motion that we've been discussing. I don't know who seconded last time.
I in a minute. I don't,
I mean, that's,
your draft,
If you want to have a new motion, new second, then you can do that, I guess, but I think we were operating under the previous motion.
That is what I'm operating. with.
Yeah.
okay.
To approve the motion that is on the table.
So if there's no,
Which is this motion.
is there any further questions? Then we can have a roll call.
Small,
Yeah.
Brady,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Yax,
Yes.
Cronin.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Let's move on to claims.
I'd like to make a motion to approve pre-authorized claims and open claims presented for payment between May 1st, 24 and May 14th, 24. For check numbers 154-128 to 154-267 and e-checks 2369 to 2376 for a grand total of $317,232.29.
Second. Moved and seconded. Any discussion, questions, issues? Roll call, please.
Johnston,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Cronin,
Yes.
Yax.
Yes.
Next up, waste management plan. Go ahead, Mr. Small.
And basically, we've all had a chance to look at the resolution. I see we have a number on it. We passed the previous resolution saying we were going to handle it. Conversations with other counties, we pretty much, I think, between Dave and I, feel that we would be better off to be serving as a regional entity. So what I would suggest here, and Tom has reviewed the resolution.
You did not review the contract?
Yes, he did.
You did review both documents?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
And has given his stamp of approval. I think we need to proceed by first rescinding the original resolution and then passing this one after discussion.
If that was a motion, I'll support to rescind.
I'll make that motion.
That was resolution 2024-09, or what was the original resolution, do you know?
Yeah, in your packet is 09.
Okay, the original was 09, that's getting rescinded,
I
okay.
think we had two motions, one to rescind and then.
Yeah, correct. So, first and the second. On that motion, any questions, comments, or concerns? Then we'll have a roll call.
Johnston,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes,
Yax,
Yes.
Cronin,
Yes.
Small.
Yes. And going forward. I believe there's also, I'm sorry, I didn't make that in motion, but I believe we have to also send something to people for the state. We're telling them when we rescinded that.
Oh, where it says that right on that line, right? That line right there.
Yeah, but Okay, we can send that, but you, the point that I like to cover all the bases with the state. Nowadays. So, all right, forward, I'll make the motion. As long as it's agreed upon the motion, but I don't read it. Because I don't read very well. Resolution is 2024-09.
Support.
So Terry or Dave, whoever, so Alpena is gonna contract with this RRS, we didn't have nothing to do with that.
We will be contracting with them to
Well, we also will be Alpena doing it.
Alpena's taking the lead.
lead, but we will be putting money into the contract.
We're not gonna, we don't have to be in contract with them, they're gonna do it
Not
through
yet,
Alpena.
not yet. I mean, there's a contract that's.
Branch is not true.
Correct. Okay, it's. You know. So anyway, yes, on. Tom has reviewed the contract, but I would like this to take some more time, review it a little bit more. And go from there.
All we're doing is just allowing Alpena to
I'm
be.
ready to
that-
vote.
Questions?
Who to second it? Any questions? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call, please.
Yax,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Brumman.
Yes.
I guess that covers it all in right now.
Next item, opioid, committee funding requests.
I think I mentioned in, at our last meeting, the, Nest was putting in a window that did not have an exact copy of the bill at that time. I have provided that to you now, and I would move to approve the funding of the windows at the Nest through the opioid, but, 284 fund.
Second.
Who to seconded? Any questions, comments, concerns? This is because you got updated quote on the windows, right?
Pardon?
There's updated quote from the windows and they get the money right, yeah,
That's the one you got.
okay, very good. Then we'll do, what is this, money, roll call,
Brady,
yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Yax,
Yes.
Brumman.
Yes.
Small.
Yes.
All right, moving on to finance reports. So I'm gonna start finance report with something that happened. A little over a week ago when, no, a portion of our county lost power. I got a call from the EMS director saying that the backup generator did not come on when that happened. So he ran into a situation before where board of commissioners, historically, if it's over $5,000, I don't remember the number, it doesn't matter. That we have to, give an approval for it, but at the time. I said, try to get 3 quotes and go ahead and do it because the safety of our people is, that's what I'm saying, so I'm just telling you what happened, so in case anybody comes back, says, oh, Adam's autonomous, look out. Anyway, I asked him to at least try to get 3 quotes, he waited a couple days to get 3 quotes, only got 1, because the ending cost was $14,200 for a new unit, because the old unit was 30 years old. Or whatever the age of that building is, for that matter. And, yeah, and, it's fixed, installed, and up and running now, and I have all the paperwork for it, everything else, I just will make sure all the money gets moved around properly. Where it has to be, but I just wanna make you aware of that. If you wanna do a vote just for, giggles, that's fine with me, if you just wanna say it's fine because of emergency, I'm fine with that. Okay, very good.
I think you probably just, as an FYI, need to clarify this. My recollection is that you or your designate can do up to $20,000 in an emergency.
Okay, well. That may be true, but I
Which is
just,
considered by follow.
I did make that call, so if somebody wants to say, oh, well, you shouldn't have done that, that's fine,
No,
I'll take that
that's fine.
responsibility.
Sure.
That's how I want to start finance. Finance also, we had a meeting today, talked about some things, wanted some clarifications on a few employee moves that are coming up here. It's retirements, so Dave and I are working on putting meetings together for that. I have here from Cheryl, needs to be presented at the board commissioner meeting 5/15/24. Oh, DPW landfill. Oh, so we didn't budget for the landfill in the 2024 cycle last year properly or at all for that matter. And everybody copy this. Our team as the budget coordinators put together a recommendation, right? And I would make a motion to approve the recommended changes for that budget. I will support.
Should change. Oh, coming in from the general fund.
No, zero. It went, the original budget for 24 was zero.
Yeah,
They have a $8,220.79 fund balance. The general fund committed 12,400 because of the well. The budget is the continuation of the wells, the closure of the wells, still needs to be monitored. I didn't get an exact, I have the old, what was submitted for 22. I haven't had an update on what the time frame is or I didn't get an update, so I assumed it was still under, monitor for that. And made the appropriate, what I felt was the appropriate DPW expenditures for the drain commissioner and the landfill expenses. Although I did notice there will be some changes, there was some DPW expenses paid out of the general fund, under the appropriations. Generally, that doesn't get paid out of there, but almost 7,000 has been paid to the DPW from the general fund that will be transferred over to the 227. The expenses.
It'd be like 13,000 available to balance either.
Correct.
so I take partial responsibility for this. This is one of the ones commissioners are supposed to make sure are put together, presented, budget time.
Well, I think it's me too, because I believe this is my liaison.
Regardless, I'm just making sure, and, you know, like, there was a few other that the board missed too, so. Anyway, if there's no more questions or concerns, we'll do a roll call.
Johnson,
Yes.
Brumman,
Yes.
Small,
Yes.
Yax,
Yes.
Brady.
Yes. What else in finance, Dave?
I think that is. It just, I mean, I think we already covered some of the transfers, Mike
Oh.
Reed.
Yeah.
Going,
Oh, we did talk about the budget or the audit a little bit, and we told that it went rather smoothly. I'm sure Cheryl will expand on that during the treasurer report. But despite having a kind of a crappy situation on Wednesday, so. That's it for finance. Personnel.
Now, so we took care of Tom's issues, so that part of it. So we did have, we kind of got our cart before our horse last week or our last meeting, because we assumed that, or we shouldn't assume, that nobody was gonna take the position in equalization. So we went ahead and put an ad in the paper. I think the board approved that and find out, we didn't ever do it?
No, because
Oh,
it
I thought it
happened
was.
just right. I held off waiting for that, so it did not get published.
So anyway, the list went around and to find out Mike Reeve, who was our custodian both I decided he wanted the job. So given that it was such a drastic and big change from one classification, level 1 to a level 3. We felt it was necessary to interview Mike, and he flags that along with the union. So we did have a somewhat of an interview process. I think he's gonna do a good job carrying that both set on with him. Wisdom on his background, and I think he's gonna be fine and gonna do a good job there, so that was good, that worked out well. We will most likely send or give you the go ahead now to get something going with custodian job. Given that this board wants to keep it full time, I think.
So now there will be a list. It goes around for signature to fill Mike's place.
Already been done and
It's already done.
Done.
nobody wants to go down to the last one. So,
That will be a harder one to fill anyway.
yeah, well, it's, you know,
I
it's
have
a
a
good,
lot of good skills.
he does, but it's a good possibility for somebody at an entry level position for a job, so. In the community,
If they're qualified.
yeah. So it all is gonna work out well, I think. We're happy to have Mike move up and look forward to him doing what he's doing in equalization and look forward to seeing the new person and custodian. So other than that, nothing else. Anything else there? Okay, that's it for us. Then we'll move on to the treasurer's report.
We did have the auditors here, the week of May 6th. They stayed for 3 days. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We had the majority of the information available to them. They did cut their visit short on Wednesday due to the unavailability of facilities. I don't foresee any major issues. We've been in communication with them. They're sending us communications and we're just sending them back as they come. And there are a few things that need to be addressed at Cedar Lake, bonding and the lake level assessments that go through there. It's kind of a sticky spot where we've had in the past, one of the prior auditors had set up different accounts. And then that person no longer is in the audit team, and so they had a new person come in and set up different accounts and did in a different way. And so there's a little bit of confusion there. But we're getting that straightened out. Other than that, it was basically unremarkable. To the point where they were a little surprised not to see any commissioners greet them, but that just happened. We didn't have Ken come up. He normally does, but we'll have him do our exit interview, hopefully. Once that's completed. And that's really all that I have for that. We did have, I think I mentioned last time, we had 2 court cases for the excess funding. One rescinded their request, the other one settled, and I would ask for a signature. And if there would be any way we could get that check cut today, so we can get it in the mail to the individual. We had a 21-day time frame to get that out. If I could get a signature, we had budgeted $112,605 for the excess proceeds. There is still, we just got a phone call from someone in regards to that, but that's for next year's sale. This is a $24,000 settlement. If I could get a signature.
You'll need a motion, you just need a signature?
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
And then I can give that to you. I don't, maybe we can check that Friday. Is that a possibility? Yeah. Perfect. And then I just have cleanup for the rest of the settlement monies to the school, our own for the county. And the village and the DDA and all the other entities outside the townships were taken care of weeks ago. And I'm working on getting those done before the deadline of June 1st. And I'll have those to the clerk's office for peanut. And you had already kind of pre-approved it during a conversation back in March when I had asked. I gave you the figures. If you need new figures or updated figures, I'm happy to give those to you.
Okay.
At the next meeting. Other than that, we're just kind of moving along. We have set a date for next year's foreclosure hearing. Tom had gotten the information to the judge for our new forfeiture season, which is, I think we had 287 as of yesterday that are in forfeiture slated for foreclosure next year, which is pretty standard of what we've had in the past. Does anybody have any other questions?
Thank you very much. All right, clerk's report, please.
I have lots. Yeah, there's a lot of changes in positions, transfers, Pam Fowler, who's been with us for 19 years. Her last day is Friday. She's has a new job that she's excited to start. Last Tuesday, we had the Osceola Area Schools election. We don't canvass that election. The majority of the school district is within Iosco County. So their board of canvassers canvass for us, and then they'll certify the results from that election to us. So it was, I think they phoned in the results as soon as the polls closed at 8 o'clock, and I was walking out the door at 8:20. So that was easy. That was an easy one. August, not so much. I just wanted to clarify, which I asked earlier when Dave was in here, that part-time position for the custodian will maintain a full-time. So, I'll just change that ad and let Dave look it over, and whoever else wants to look at it. I have to have it in the paper by 4 p.m. this Friday. Any millage proposals? The deadline was yesterday, the 14th. So for any of those townships or county or whatever that didn't get their millage language in by yesterday, we'll have a new deadline of, I don't know when, for the November ballot. Some of these positions that are changing offices and shifting and everything, I don't have in writing yet. And I really should, because there's a lot that's changing and our office needs to know, I mean, for personnel files and beginning and ending dates and starting wages and all of that good stuff. So,
I had Amy send you the letter on Mike. It would have had everything in it?
no,
No? Okay.
nope.
Right.
Everything right now, other than Pam terminating, is the only one that I officially have in writing.
Okay.
And there's a lot of offices shifting, and I have nothing other than just verbal. There'll be 6 election trainings. I think that's how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try to combine 2 townships into the training, and 4 during the afternoons, and maybe possibly 2 in the evenings for those clerks or election inspectors that work full-time jobs during the day. And they'll probably mostly be held at the Harrisville Township Hall. I do believe Caledonia and Alcona Township are gonna be combined, and I'll do a training at either one of the halls up there. They're very close to each other. So for those townships, some are in need of election inspectors. So if you go to your meetings and let them know to start recruiting as many election workers as they can, the more that they have trained, they can fill in. Once you're trained, you can go anywhere in the entire state of Michigan and be an election inspector. But like Curtis Township hurts for workers, and there's a couple of them that are always scrambling, and they're working with their minimum of 3 workers. Like to see some younger people in there. Hopefully Hannah's still interested. Maybe I kept her number, or I'll get a hold of you. I have the SEMA insurance renewal that we do every year. And this was for volunteer insurance, and they've stayed the same, $502 for as long as I can remember. I kind of called and asked some questions in regard to this, because I thought this insurance, when it says volunteer insurance, were to cover people that were working like the countywide cleanup over in Lincoln. I know someone got injured one time helping out. This does not cover that. This covers when we had trustees from the jail that would come over here to the county building and help. We don't have a jail anymore. So I need to get a hold of Bob, help with MMRMA to see that that's added, and I don't think I'm going to renew this since it doesn't do us any good. With the renewal, all that paperwork's been complete and submitted, and our renewed date is July. So I will ask him about the volunteer, or the volunteer for like the countywide or anything else that we might be doing. And also, in the renewal, I put the veterans building on there. So, right now it's under the contract of the builder. And then it will be part of the renewal, so that will be probably some kind of a slight adjustment to the whatever. Ballot administration is complete since all the deadlines are done, other than write-ins. And once those are complete, I'm just double checking the township level. We just have to put in, now that the deadline's passed, all of the proposals, and then we can print from the state an unofficial listing of candidates and proposals. And I think that's it. And yes, the auditors were here. It was, as they were here, we stuffed whatever they wanted, number one, into a folder and worked on it while they were here and some after they had left. And so John made the folder shareable with them, so they could just go in and get stuff. I think they came in the office maybe 3 or 4 times, and that was about it, so. That went pretty smooth. And now I'm done.
Okay. Thank you very much. Moving on to communications, there are in your packet, review at your leisure. Start with committee reports, and for funsies, we'll start on the right side with Karen today.
So much. Did not attend during my meeting last week. Did have a memory sub meeting. Stuff is pretty routine, and I will be getting to you some of the charts and documents that show usage and focus to some degree on Alcoma. 911 meeting, the phone system installation is going to be able to be scheduled a little earlier, a couple of weeks than originally scheduled. That still means summer-ish, no specific dates. The best thing is in attendance at an ACCOA committee meeting this morning. I was very pleased to learn that thanks to Congressman Bergman's office. You have all heard me write about the fact that we could not get access to the executive director, the chairman of the board, all of those could not get access to the SBA loan that was $150,000. Senator Bergman, why am I saying senator? Congressman Bergman's office cut through that red tape and did get it resolved. The payment has gone. There was, in order to get gotten the payment, the prior director had utilized a line of, what's the word I want? What is it? Collateral, thank you. And that release has not happened yet, but it's in the process of happening, and I'm sure it will have taken place very, very soon. But I have great appreciation to Congressman Bergman's, Lieutenant General Jack Bergman's office for cutting through that red tape that we have been trying to for months. So that's about all I have.
Congratulations.
I attended CMH meeting last week. They have some, I won't go into details, but it was a good meeting. And that's all I have.
Everything we for the report, what do you got?
I guess on the broadband, Craig and I attended a meeting last week. I think there is a training on the max layering. Is that for anyone?
No, it's only for us.
Okay. We're working on, so we're still working on the broadband. Building the grounds, obviously Dave said, and then Alcona Township is, they are putting in pickleball courts and updating their part. They've been doing some fencing, and I think they have a problem with their outhouses, and I think they're going to porta potties instead of this big thing, I guess. That's what it.
I didn't have any personnel, so I did everything within the meeting, so.
Okay, easy peasy. Last 5-minute public comment, anybody here?
Sorry,
Oh.
I forgot one thing. The opioid settlement, I got an email.
one of them was to opt out of one of the many settlements. And of course, we don't want to do that. So the other one was an anticipated payment date, which I gave a copy of this to Cheryl so she can look for it when it comes in. It looks like payment on May 31st in the amount of $6,909.06 will be coming in for the opioid committee. And that is with, I don't know, the distributor settlement.
Okay. Your windows. I don't think we had public comment, just to confirm, okay? That being said, we will, any additional comments, concerns? Meeting adjourned till June 5th.
You go on Monday or? Yeah, that's what Huh?
So they can't find it.
Well,
I would like to.
So,
And they are.
there you go.